Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. To follow us on Instagram, go to No Name Music Cast Podcast. To send us an email, it's nonamemusiccast@gmail.com. And to visit our website, go to nonamemusiccast.com. Now, on with the show. Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. My name's Tim, and this is
Joy.
And we've covered a multitude of topics before we hit record and play this evening. Finance, computing, personnel. I mean, you name it across the board.
You forgot the home decor, Tim. Tim, you have a home decor thing happening.
Yeah, as you've probably noticed from these recordings, you could probably tell that it sounds completely different because I've moved the desk the other side of the room. Actually, it doesn't at all. The only thing I've had to do is buy a ring light or a smaller ring light, should I say, because this side of the room is lit differently to the other side. And you may be asking, this is an audio-only podcast. What difference would a ring light make? Well, I do post clips to Instagram, so I want to be lit so you can see me sitting here with Joy.
We should post at least one full episode, like from beginning and end or something on YouTube, or at least like a big piece of it. You know what I mean? But it's funny because Tim had to be like, okay, which color profile? Tim's not a cool. He needs a warm tone, everybody. He needs a warm tone.
I think so. I mean, this is the finest ring light that $11 will buy you. I will tell you that.
Mine is built into my camera, so I'm like super fancy. And it's got a blue haze to it, so it neutralizes the red in my skin.
Ah, there you go.
Which makes me look pale.
Yeah, my webcam came from the COVID era when they were incredibly hard to come by, and I've still got it.
I have no idea when I got this one. I will say I have a really good one, but I worked from home for how many years before I went back in the office, so it was necessary. Necessary purchase. All right. Well, we'll let Tim start with his bit of music news, personal news, aspirations. I don't know. Where are you going, Tim?
Okay, so it's music news. It's some ground I've covered before, but I'm going to say some of this again. So today was a big day. Today was the launch of the Queen 2 remix album.
I saw that when I was doing the Googs.
Yeah, and the reason it's important is because often when there's a release like this, Brian May will light up his Instagram Live, in a feature that he calls Bri TV. So they pick him up from his house in his car and he fires up Instagram Live, and he Instagram Lives basically the whole day apart from his lunch and lavatory breaks, really. So he got in his car and then he went to Greenwich because there was some astronomical exhibition type thing that he was involved with, so he spent some time there. Of course
there was.
And then he went off to some studio somewhere and a theatre where they played the whole of Queen 2, and then he took questions and he spoke all about it and spoke about the remix. So in between working today, I've had that running on in the background. Brian May just talking about all kinds of stuff, and he did a big question and answer session as I was driving home. So I had that in the car driving home. It was very interesting, and as I was putting the rubbish out when I got home, he was just finishing up. So Brian May, I know all about everything you said today, all about Queen 2, and in fact on Monday I'm supposed to have my Queen 2 remastered 2 CD set. There is a box set with a vinyl record, 4 CDs and a book and stuff, but they wanted over $200 for this set, and I didn't see the value in it. So I bought the $20 2 CD set instead.
Touche. Who knew that Brian May would be the vlogging king of the world at this point? I get on Charlie's nerve because I know it's wrong, Tim, but when I see vlogging, I always say vlogging. It's just to annoy him because I know that's not what it's supposed to be, but I love saying vlogging. It's my own personal thing to make him annoyed. Well, Brian May obviously listens to this podcast. We can't get him on, though. I mean, we keep calling. Tim definitely has cell phone numbers and stuff, right, Tim? I think maybe.
No, I honestly don't have his. I know he had a Virgin Net email address and it got hacked and he changed because he had a thing on his Instagram saying if you have my Virgin.net email address, don't use it anymore. So I know that one piece. But I like him, but I'm not a stalker. I mean, I'm
I
not.
know. I was trying to make a joke because of the clogs epidemic. People think Tim obviously knows his personal phone number.
Well, he's moved away from clogs. He doesn't have clogs anymore. He has like Adidas things that look like Crocs.
Interesting. Oh my God, Tim. This is not related to anything you just said, but you said Crocs, and I have to tell you an experience that happened to me. And if
Okay.
I have to experience, you have to experience. So, for those who don't know, I work in a job now that requires me to go to the bank every day. Or one of my teammates, but mostly me. It is 90% my responsibility, but as a manager, and Tim will tell you this, 10% of the time we get hung up on stuff, and sometimes your team has to step in.
Yeah.
So, I had to go to the bank today. I gave my little bank bag to the person and I sit down in the chair and I let them do their work. And I try not to stand at the counter because it's awkward to stare at bank people while they're doing their stuff and other people need help. This man had Crocs on. He comes in, he was in the bank when I got there. He was loudly talking on speakerphone, which is already a pet peeve of mine.
Yep.
But anyway, he took the Croc off and proceeded to scratch his toes with his own hand at the bank.
Oh,
I want you to know, Tim, I am very chill. But when I say that crossed the line, Tim, who has ever went into the bank and thought I should touch my toes?
obviously that
And,
person.
and then I feel so bad for the banker because he proceeded to have to hand her stuff with the same hand he was just scratching his toes with.
Yeah, that is not nice. Do you know
And
what I
money
used to
is already
do?
dirty. Oh,
What I
sorry, go
used to
ahead.
do when I worked in a credit union, it was I would say at the cusp of mobile phone use, but certainly at the very beginning of that, maybe
Yeah.
90s, I suppose,
Okay.
when they were becoming mainstream. And people used to come to the counter having a conversation on their mobile phone, and they would just hand me stuff and then continue to talk. So I would just do nothing. And then they would say, "Oh, I say, oh, it's fine. I can wait for you to finish." And that used to drive them mad.
And this conversation was like him bluntly. So he had been working with her because I started to go up to the counter to hand my bank bag. She said, "I'm working with him. Just give me a second." So then I just kind of, she took the bank bag to go to give to another person, and I skimmied away because they have to do a lot of transactions for my thing. Not that that matters. So it's not like an easy in and out the door thing. So, and I always just try to like not block the counter, be conscientious. I just go sit down, play on my phone. They got good Wi-Fi. So, but yeah, so then after he's very bluntly screaming at the top of his lungs in the bank, and then I saw that I am very chill, but that was like, that might be my final reason why, Tim. I felt so bad for her. Like, who actively takes, and Crocs, like, are sweaty and gross, and I hate to say this, he was wearing like a lawn care related clothing, which means he's probably doing physical labor. And the conversation he was having on his phone was something about owing somebody money and how they were going to get him the money.
Oh, crikey.
It was a lot. So anyway, I had to experience that. So now you need to know that, Tim, that's what I had to deal with today. But at least I didn't have to touch the stuff after he touched his feet and then proceeded to hand her that.
Well, there we are. Well, Joy, well, thank you for sharing that with me. I appreciate that.
I knew you were worried. All right, so let's get back to music. This is not a podcast about people's Crocs or feet problems. So I do have a little bit of music news. It's not a huge thing. Paul McCartney released a new single. Did you see that, Tim?
I saw that, yes.
It says it's called Days We Left Behind, and it's to be followed by his first new album in nearly 6 years, which we talked about. Me and Tim both liked his last album. What was it called? I can see the album cover in my head. It had like the African kind of things on it.
Well, there was actually one after that was McCartney 3.
Yes.
That's the
about
one
that
that
one,
he
yeah.
released as he called in Rock Down.
There you go. And then this one is going to be called The Boys of Dungeon. Tim, as I said, Lane. Is that a British thing? It's spelled like dungeon, but I'm not sure if there's some British sound I'm supposed to put on it.
No, I've got it here. The Boys of Dungeon Lane.
Okay, I got paranoid and thought I was saying that wrong. I don't know. Sometimes you guys sound all like popsicles and stuff, so. The single is a love letter to Liverpool. Arrived concurrently with the official news that the album he's been working on with producer Andrew Witt is indeed on the way. It's going to come out on May 29th of 2026, and it will be the forthcoming set. The forthcoming set will be McCartney's first new album since what Tim just said. If I had read a little further, the answer is right here in front of me. His pandemic, yes, Joy, pandemic self-produced McCartney 3, which came out in December of 2022. 2020, not 2022. So if you are interested, be on the lookout. It'll be out May 29th.
There you go. I wonder what his voice is going to be like on this album, because when he performs now, he sounds very frail. Even when he speaks, he sounds very frail. You know, because he's an old guy. He's almost 90 years old or something.
How old is he? Let's see. How old
83, 84, something like that?
83. Yeah, I mean, you know what? He can sound frail as he wants. I'll still listen to it. It's Paul
McCartney, for goodness sake. It doesn't matter, but I was just curious.
It would be interesting to see if he has any other contributors to the album to like provide vocals or anything. Because the thing about him is he's not just a good, for me personally, what I think he's good at. Yeah, he's a decent vocalist. He's a good songwriter. That's what he's good at. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Yes,
and
I agree.
I've talked ad nauseum. I think that is almost, especially for long-term success and to like make your name in the business and like really make a punch, Tim, that is a different skill. And it's the skill that I think sells forever. Also mixed with the fact that what does he play, like 47 instruments or something?
I mean, all the key ones, keyboards, guitar, bass, drums, I mean.
But doesn't he also play like some weird obscure stuff too?
Of course he does. He's Paul McCartney, and he was a Beatle.
That's true. He does rank up there with, well, wait, if you're going to talk about who can play any instrument, you could probably hand him an instrument and like 10 minutes he'll figure it out. And then you've got, of course, the Queen, we say Brian May, he's literally an astrophysicist, so, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Paul McCartney and Brian May, they never cease to amaze us. Oh, my God, you just casually said, he was like at an astrophysicist something today, I don't know, conference, something.
Yeah, I mean, and he was talking about Starmus, which is another astronomy associated art music thing that he's doing later on this year. I mean, Brian May is so busy.
All right. Well, that's why he can't come on the podcast. Obviously, we've texted him. So with that being said, it is my topic. Now, I will say I have been working behind the scenes on a super secret topic that requires a lot of work that I'm very excited for. But we're not there yet. Now, with that being said, this topic is a topic we should have done for years. I'm very excited for this. There will probably be a lot of banter and a lot of ridiculousness and not talking about music. But this episode is about Hall & Oates. And I may have done some research on my buddy Daryl and got some first-hand accounts on how people have interacted with him. So that's where we're going to start. So for those who don't know anything about Hall & Oates, which would be incredibly weird to me that you don't, I learned something very, very interesting about them today. Did you know that they met in an elevator, Tim?
No, I didn't know that.
There was a shootout, a gang shootout, and they both ended up in the same elevator.
What a way to bring together a musical partnership.
I truly thought it was fake. I was like, so when I was doing my research and kind of thinking, it was like a Philly gang shootout. They met in a service elevator while escaping gunfire.
Wow.
Now, can I prove if that's true or not? I don't know, but that's what the internet claims. Started.
And I mean, the internet never lies, Joy. You know that.
Don't put that out there because it might be lying to me right now. But that was one of the things. That's what they said. I don't know, guys. Nobody needs to go back and look and really Google into it. I want to believe that theory that I read is true. Regardless. It does seem very on brand, right, Tim? All right. So I also learned today that Daryl Hall actively hates and has called anybody who says this jerk-offs and the F word we can't say on our podcast jokes. He hates the term yacht rock. Hates it, Tim. Cannot stand it.
I mean, he should take the Steve Lukather approach. Steve Lukather says, you can call it whatever you like. It's made me very rich.
Exactly. I don't really think it's an insult. I don't understand. To be honest with you, who's probably listening? I mean, who, in essence, if someone on a yacht is listening to your music, I feel like that's a sign of success. Who's on a yacht? Like, really? Like, how is that an insult, Tim?
I honestly don't know.
He's just a grumpy old man. Anyway, so now for those who don't know, there was some recent legal drama between Hall and Oates. So basically, John tried to sell half of his rights to Hall Oates Enterprises. It's a massive corporation. Behind Daryl's back is what he claims. I can't confirm it or deny it. And basically, Daryl said this was the ultimate partnership. He didn't even really care that he was selling the rights. He just didn't want a big conglomerate to have the rights to their music, which I understand. As much as a hater of Daryl Hall I am, I get it. He also said he felt blindsided. And they did do some type of private I guess arbitration or something in August of 2025. They righted the ship, everything's good, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's probably some animosity, and there is. If you see some of the quibs in the back and forth, there definitely is. But he just basically said that he didn't know about it. And John said, well, I'm tired of being the other guy and da-da-da-da-da, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of animosity between the two of them. And I think it dates back probably prior to this, because if they had a close relationship, he probably would have came to him first, right, Tim, before he tried to just sell the rights.
Yeah, I mean, I get the sense that they probably had a close relationship at the beginning, and Daryl Hall became very Daryl Hall-y, and I feel that their relationship then became completely a business relationship, and that's probably where it broke down.
Exactly. And John thinks of them as business partners, and Daryl tries to use, I hate to say this, I don't want to call him a narcissist, but like kind of like what I see narcissists in this is where he wants to like make him his friend, but John obviously doesn't want that. Do you know what I mean, Tim? We're friends, we're buddies, this is our music. How can you do this? But it's obvious to me that's not what John wants, because it's the opposite of what he's doing. And there's probably specific reasons why he feels that way that none of us would know, right? Like we're not in the relationship. But there's definitely everything that I was read, there's a Daryl thinks they're BFFs for life. John's like, no, we're just business partners. But I don't think Daryl thinks they're actually BFFs. I think he wants that to work so that it feels like it manipulated to get you to do what I want, right? That's what I've gathered from this. I cannot confirm or deny. I'm not his therapist, everyone, and I'm not trying to diagnose Daryl Hall, though he does look like a lion. I do know that. Also, Daryl has this whole lore around him that he's a perfectionist and da-da-da-da-da, and then there's also people saying he's just a narcissist who struggles to share the spotlight. I don't know.
Yeah, the other thing about Daryl Hall is he has had a solo career, whereas John Oates has not had a solo career.
And I don't know that he couldn't have, but it probably does contribute to him feeling very like he's provided more to the music world, right?
Yeah, I mean, I should have gone and supported John Oates when he played The Harvester. It was a little while ago, but we was going through one of our austerity periods, so we sadly didn't go to see that.
Yes. And to be fair with you, when I was reading through some of this, he did actively have like a whole subset of him, like literally Daryl, not John. Daryl sorts him stopping his shows mid-song to berate the crew in front of the crowd. But there were multiple people who says they witnessed that. And as Tim will tell you, what's your pet peeve with a musician?
Yeah, people who are not good to the crew. The crew are the people who put you where you are. And in fact, as I said, I watched a video when I had Peacock of Hall Oates live in Australia in Sydney. And the sound was awful. There's always feedback coming through the monitor, and it just sounded bad. And I heard that on that tour, he refused to go to any of the sound checks and then shouted at the crew because it didn't sound any good.
Yeah, so there was like a whole like subreddit, if you really want to dive into it, you can Google it, of him being a stage boss and basically people talking about they were at his concerts and watched him berate the crew.
Yeah, that's bad.
So He also has the solo thing. In 2022, Meyer, whatever you want to call him, he did say that John is not a creative one and they are just business partners, which is weird because when John tried to sell the rights, now they should be BFFs, right, Tim? It's
Yeah.
very weird. So anyway, they've also, if you go down the Reddit rabbit hole, there are many stories of him being rude to retail workers. And apparently he has a habit. Have you heard this one, Tim, of just openly ignoring or refusing to talk to his opening bands?
Yeah, that's terrible.
And one of his opening bands was Train, which, I mean, I'm not a huge Train fan, but they're a pretty megastar band at this point. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't like we're talking, not that it should matter. It doesn't matter if it's Joy with her ukulele. If she's opening for her, you should go talk to her.
Yeah, absolutely.
People are rude. So, anyway, now with that being said, if you had to guess who's Team Daryl and who's Team John, I think you might know where I lie.
Yeah, justice for John Oates.
And he's never done anything. The thing about it is John Oates might actually end up being a jerk. I have no idea, but he doesn't put on the persona. And I'd rather just like sometimes, you know that old saying, Tim, it's better to shut your mouth and let people think you're stupid than it is to open it and prove it. So I'm just saying. So anyway, I am going to be Team Oates. Also, there's also one more story. Well, actually, I got a few more stories. You know, we got a few more stories. But there's one that I want to bring up that there's a persistent, though unverified, just to be, this is all alleged. Don't sue me, Daryl Hall. This is all alleged. Everything I'm saying is alleged. Story circulating that Daryl's son wrote and recorded a song for him for Father's Day. Daryl's only response was to critique the technical quality rather than saying like a thank you to his son. Alleged.
Yeah.
So anyway, do not sue us. We're not doing the Eagle episode, so we're okay.
It's just eagles. Just eagles.
Just Eagles. I'm kidding. That was a joke, everybody. I know. With okay. So we're going to talk about the music. So Tim, have you heard of this band called Hall and Oates before?
I have. I believe there's even a telephone number you can call where in an emergency you can get a Hall and Oates song if you need to hear one.
Now, Hall & Oates has, I think, I haven't really looked into it, but I think they have like the most number one hits of something of like all the bands of the 80s. There's some statistic out there. And if you hadn't heard a Hall & Oates song, you might live actually under a rock, I think, at this point, Tim. Even I think Gen Z in some capacity has heard a Hall & Oates song, I would think, if they didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, because there was a band called The Bird and the Bee. And a few years ago for Record Store Day, they reissued an album where they just do Hall & Oates covers. And I understand that's an act that young people would know.
Let's see here. How many hits did Hall, and I know there's some statistic. They choose, okay, so they had 63 totals. In the US Hot, just the US, they had 6 number ones. Oh no, 16. Spanning from 1974 to 1991, so on and so forth. So, I mean, that alone, but they are radio fodder. They are like the best radio band in the best way. I love Hall & Oates, but that's what they are. They had whatever they did with their sound and that back and forth and whatever. And whether they actually met during a shootout in an elevator, I can't confirm, but that's what the internet was saying. Though I don't know if Hall & Oates have confirmed that themselves, or if I just read that on Reddit and wanted it to be true. Just saying. There's probably somebody on Reddit that's just spreading lies and I'm falling for them. Like, Hall & Oates met in an elevator. Could you imagine, though? Like, you just meet the person you end up writing 16 number one hits with in an elevator during a gang shootout?
I mean, it's a great story, but whether it's true, we may never know.
Never know. All right. Well, we're going to go over 10 songs. I will say some of these songs are songs we've talked about 1,000 times. They're so good, though. I can't not do them. Now, number one, the year's Tim's favorite year, probably of Tim's favorite of all the years, because it's the start of his favorite decade, 1980, which happened how many years ago, Tim?
The 80s were 20 years ago, Joy.
Yeah. Yes. Tim's also living in a fantasy world. Now,
That's what your sister keeps telling me, that I managed to live in some world that avoids stuff.
I kind of do too. She wrote me the other day, was like, "You sure you don't know who Olivia Dean is?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm sure, Brandy." Anyway, so with that being said, it's "You Make My Dreams Come True," and this was their most streamed song to today. I found out because it was used in a movie called 500 Days of Summer, but this is as of right now. Now, Tim's probably going to break Spotify, but supposedly on my stats, this was their most streamed song, which would make sense because "You Make My Dreams Come True" is like a song everybody knows from Hall Oates.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up the Spotify. Hang on a second.
Let's see.
Hall Oates. Hall and Oates. Daryl Hall and John Oates. And it's the second most streamed song with 1.3 billion streams.
I mean, this is just a song that everybody should know, right? I would think.
I would think so. I mean, I wasn't aware that it was in a film or a TV show or whatever, and it surprised me that it's number 2 streamed because I think there's a lot of other songs by Hall & Oates that are a lot stronger than that.
I think it's just because it was from this movie. I've never watched this movie. Can't tell you a thing about the movie, 500 Days of Summer. Don't know.
No, in fact, it's not even a film I've even heard of.
I think I've heard it. When did it come out? I've heard of it, but it's not something that rings any particular bell, if that makes sense. Let's see. What's it about? It's about music. Tom, greeting card writer and hopeless romantic, is completely caught off guard when his girlfriend Summer suddenly dumps him. He reflects on their 500 days together, trying to figure out where their love affair went sour, so on and so forth. There you go. That's what this movie is about. How this song plays into it, I have no clue. I mean, it's "You Make My Dreams Come True" and it's a love movie. It could probably be really anyway.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's been used in other things as well, not just that film.
For sure. All right. So with that being said, this is probably well, I know it is. This is their number 1 hit. This is from 1982, and this is "Man Eater."
Yes, Man Eater is a great song. I love Man Eater. Now, I think this is the time in the evening's recording, Joy, where once again we call
the Man Eater.
Oates, and maybe we can even listen to Man Eater because I believe it's on there. So let's just bring this up right now.
Well, while Tim's doing that, I also found out, fun fact, while he's bringing up all the things that made this happen, John Oates says the original was a reggae song.
Oh,
interesting.
Okay, so we are dialing the number, and if you want to dial this, if you're in the United States, it's 7. Let me turn the volume up. 719-266 2837. Here we go.
Hall & Oates, your emergency Hall & Oates helpline. To hear one-on-one, please press 1. To hear Rich Girl, please press 2. To hear Man Eater, please press 3.
Here we go.
What's weird is I never heard any of it. I think the Zoom blocked out Man Eater.
Did you hear the voice though?
I heard her, yes, but we never heard the song.
Maybe it's the noise reduction.
It is. You guys just assume there was Man Eater in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's funny. It was really loud at this end, but maybe the Zoom god said no Man Eater for you.
That's kind of funny, actually. That actually makes it funnier because me and Tim talked about Zoom has some of the best background audio quality canceling of any other product. They really put a lot of work into it. Mm-hmm. But anyway, all right. So Man Eater was apparently a reggae song, which I find very interesting. I wonder if there's a copy out there. That would be cool to hear. Now, the next song I have very specific memories of. This is in the very early career. We're talking 70s, 1977. It's Rich Girl.
Yeah, I like Rich Girl. Rich Girl was up there right on the list of the most streamed songs as well. It's real classic Hall & Oates. And it's not really a dancing song. And it sort of has like the early Michael Jackson has an early disco orchestral type thing going on. Mm-hmm. This has got the same kind of feel.
Yes. Now, the thing about Rich Girl, so I said that was their number one, the Man Eater's their biggest hit. Like it was the most, it was on the track for like number one for the longest. This was their first number one hit. It's actually discussed, there's a rumor that it was about a spoiled guy and he changed it to girl so they didn't know he was singing about him. Daryl, so I don't know whether that's true. That's a theory. It's a conspiracy theory that Daryl is not confirmed or denied. Now, Rich Girl is funny to me because I've told this on the podcast before. As a kid, I kept telling my mother they're saying a bad word in this song, and she kept saying, no, they're just saying rich. I was confirmed to be correct.
There we go.
She misheard that her entire life, and Joy was correct that there's a word in this song that it's not radio appropriate. At one point, when it says, it does say rich girl over and over, but then there's ism, and gone too far, and it don't matter anyway. And I, as a kid, argue with my mother. That's what they were saying, and she told me I was wrong. I have been vindicated now.
All these years later, on the medium of podcasting, you was completely vindicated.
I was. It's funny that we say this about vindicated. There's this song from the early aughts, aka the early 2000s, and this song, I am vindicated, I am wrong, I am right, I swear I'm right, swear I knew it all along. And the other day I said something to Charlie and I said, I am vindicated. And I started singing that song. And he looked at me and went, I forgot all about that song. I need to hear it now. And then I was like, yeah, it's the most whiny, annoying song about someone saying they were right. But he did go down the rabbit hole and find it. It really is. It's just a song about screaming, I was right all along.
The bigger question here that I ask you is, were they making music in the early 2000s? Does that exist? Because I've never heard it.
They were. They were. I was there, Tim. It was a time. It was a time. Wasn't a time you were in, but I was in it. I was in it full. And they were mostly, a lot of it was whiny punk pop people screaming and stuff, as that song confirmed. Go back to our episode, what was it, 2 or 3 episodes ago, where I forced Tim to go through all the early 2000s number one hits. If you want to see how that went. All right, well, let's go back to a decade you love. Now, Daryl Hall has claimed, and John, as we've said, does not speak, so all of this is from, he says this is the coolest song, whatever that means. Seems very subjective, but it is from your favorite time, 1981. Mm-hmm. This is, I can't go for that, oh. Anyway, No can do.
Yeah, an absolute classic. Now, this is a song which to this day exists in my Wheels of Steel playlist. My Wheels of Steel playlist is something I use when I play with cover bands. And even if I'm not, quote unquote, DJing the breaks, I have a playlist which has got your Cupid Shuffle and your Wobble and your Electric Slide and all that kind of stuff. And this song is on there, and it sits there equally as good as all those songs. People love it. People dance to it. An absolute classic. Sure.
Well, he says it is their coolest song. And it's been sampled by quite a few things. I saw a list of like 5 other songs that have sampled the I can't go for that, specifically that part. No can, that part is so iconic that it really stands out to me. Every one of these songs is my childhood summed up. I mean, I don't know how popular Hall Oates were in England, Tim. Were they just as popular as you think they were in America, or is it more of an American phenomenon? I don't know.
I think probably more popular in the United States than the UK. But certainly we got that music, and people like that music, especially during the 80s. I think their everlasting appeal is probably a US thing rather than a UK thing.
So for me, growing up, like every single one of these songs, Tim, would be something I would hear. And as we talked about, my CVS playlist is heavy on the Hall & Oates. This is what I would hear my entire childhood. My mom and dad, I heard it would be like, Hall & Oates and like Eagle. Eagles, the Eagles, not the Eagles, whatever they're called. Those were like, they're standard. So question for you, Tim. You've never really said, what songs from Hall & Oates have you played in bands before?
I don't think I've ever played any Hall & Oates songs. Now, I'm looking on the Spotify. Let me have a look.
Don't give any other songs away because I'm only on number 4.
I'm looking through the list of the top 10 songs on the Spotify from Hall & Oates. Yeah. I've never played any of them.
I mean, I wonder why though. I mean, I guess they're not really something I see people covering very often. They're not like Journey or something, you know? And so, but like, it seems like music that if you covered it would go over well.
You would think so. You really would think so. But I mean, certainly in all the bands I've ever played in, I've never played any Hall and Oates.
Do you think it's because they're so poppy and a lot of the music that seems to like transcend the realm of cover bands in Southwest Virginia is more kind of rock?
I think you're probably right. I mean, not a lot of bands around here will play anything that's approaching pop. It's all rock or rock adjacent or blues or country. And I think because of that, it's probably that's why they're not playing it.
Does that ever get boring?
Well, my dream would be to play in a cover band that either plays classic rock or plays 80s rock pop type stuff. The
Yeah.
problem in this area, there's no market for that. So if you
Yeah.
want to keep busy and you want to play music, there's a certain set of songs you have to play. And sadly, Hall and Oates does not come into that.
Which is weird because they are a very popular band, but I think they have more universal appeal. Whereas, like Tim saying in Southwest Virginia, you're playing Journey, you're playing Led Zeppelin, you're playing, you know what I mean? Like all them kind of things. So yeah, I could see that. I could see that. And it's weird to me though that you've never played one. I mean, I haven't looked at the chords, but none of them seem particularly challenging to play.
No,
I
I,
wouldn't
I don't
think.
think it's technically difficult. It's just that it just doesn't find its way into cover band sets.
Well, you should start sneaking Hall and Oates songs into your sets and see if
Oh,
anybody notices.
I would love to do that.
Because I feel like that would, no offense to you. So I have this thing, I've talked about this. I like rock music, I really do. But sometimes it becomes just like I have to have like a pop hit or something with some soul or like a Motown mixed in with it. I can't listen to straight rock music. I just can't, Tim. I need something
No,
with a vibe.
yeah, I'm with you. And also, in when you get involved with fandoms, like I've been part of the Queen universe fandom. I've dipped my toes into the Sammy Hagar fandom by, attending concerts in the second row and stuff. But you dip your toes into these fan communities. And I'm a big Queen fan. I love Van Halen. There's a lot of art acts I really like. But when you delve into that world, you find people that all they ever do is listen to that music or music that's just like that.
No way.
And I couldn't do it. I remember being on a tour, a Queen fan club tour, talking to someone about it, and they said, how much they love Freddie Mercury's voice. And I always wake up to Queen every morning, and it's just, I mean, I like it, but I don't want to hear it all the time.
So, first of all, I have major issues with a lot of what you just said because I made the mistake of back in the day having a CD alarm clock. And let me tell you, every song that forces me awake at 6 a.m. is a person I never want to hear again. Like the anger that it makes me feel. So that would just, yeah, I can't do it. I know you've never watched this movie because Tim doesn't watch movies, but there's one of my favorite movies it's called Grind. And it's like, I love buddy comedy movies, Tim. And so it's just a buddy comedy about these guys who are trying to be professional skateboarders. You really don't have to go down the rabbit hole. It's exactly as cliche and ridiculous as you think it sounds. Now,
Yeah.
with that being said, there's a scene where they've been listening to just kind of like, I don't know, think like grungy kind of rock music because they're traveling the United States, right? And they're following these tourist skateboarders. And one of them grabs the CD out. He's like, I can't do it anymore. And he throws it out the door. And you know what he said? He said, and then the other guy goes, I got you. We need something. And you know what? As he puts it, now they've been listening to kind of think, I don't know, like Black Hole Sun kind of stuff for hours on end. And he puts it, don't need nothing but a good time by Poison next. And you see 2 seconds later, all of them just like having the time of their lives while Poison, like just that swap. And I was like, I felt that in my soul. Like if I have to listen to like grungy 90s or even early 2000s rock music for too long, like it was like, anywhere from Black Hole Sun to Red Hot Chili Peppers, I'm gonna go crazy. I can't do it, Tim.
No, I mean, there's so many acts that I really, really like, but I just can't listen to them continually.
And I like a variety. I like pop. I like rock. I like a little bit of country here and there. I like a little bit of all of it, you know? So there you go. That was not related to anything, but I Can't Go For That is a great song, and I'm surprised you've never played it. I think you should just start sprinkling it in somewhere and see how it goes.
Yeah, well, I'd have to take it on my Wheels of Steel playlist, though.
Fair. All right, we'll pick another one. All right, now, Tim's favorite. The best part about this for Tim is it's in his favorite, really 90% of their music is in his favorite decade. So, we're talking 1984. Out of Touch.
Oh, I mean, every song that you're mentioning is like, bam, this is great. Bam, this is great. Out of Touch is just.
I know.
I tell you what, if you're listening to this, you're not out of touch. Let me tell you.
Every song is a song that as soon as I hear it, Tim, I mean, you are out of touch, I'm out of time, but I've got, like, I can hear every Hall & Oates song. Like, I could close my eyes and probably give you their entire catalog, like, without even having to think about it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so perfect. And that rhythm that you're out of touch, I'm out of time, I'm out of my head, that back and forth is beautiful. Like, it is just so iconic. And this one, have you ever seen the music video for this, Tim?
Maybe. See, traditionally, I haven't really watched a lot of music videos, at least since MTV finished, or I stopped having access to MTV. But now I've got my special playlist on the Spotify of music videos. I've actually been reacquainting myself with a lot of videos from back in the day. It's on there, but I don't think I've seen it yet.
You need to watch this one. So, like, in the music video, it's like a scene of Hall & Oates inside a gigantic drum set. And, like, Oatbanks on the... Yeah.
Yes,
You've seen it,
yes,
right?
I have seen it.
Yeah, so it's like an equally gigantic, like, bass drum pedal. And then they both escape out of it. And then it features the words, like, big, boom, pow, something. I don't know. And then they're dancing inside the O's. Like, it's a weird fever dream. If you've never watched the music video of this, and the album is called, like, what? Big boom, bam, bam, boom, something like that. Whatever it says in the video. I love how I'm like, I don't know, something with bees. Big bomb, bam, bomb, something. But yes, this video is one of those videos that I've seen like maybe 2 or 3 times, but it sticks out to me because it really does feel like a fever dream. It's very weird stuff happening in this music video.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember in the 80s, MTV was brand new. The record companies were looking to make content. They were looking to make things that people would remember as it was played on MTV. Also, it was a time of large record company budgets. So making a very lavish video to play on MTV was not out of the question. I mean, these days,
sure.
I mean, music videos that are made, even if they're made at all, you know, for artists that I'm familiar with that make music videos, I mean, it's like you made it on your computer at home. I mean, they're not spending a lot of money. They're not redoing Michael Jackson's Thriller, for example.
You're correct on that. But it does stand out. I'll give him that. Now, one thing I had never picked up on this next song, speaking of music videos, because this one's kind of an interesting music video. The one we're going to talk about is from 1981. It's Private Eyes.
Oh, I'm very familiar with this song.
Because it's got a lot of clapping.
Yes.
And as Hannah would say, what makes a good song, Tim?
Lots of clapping.
I mean, there's a lot of clapping in Private Eyes. Now, with that being said, I had never picked up on this, but when I was doing research from this, there's a song that's going to come up later. It's about 2 songs out. I'm just going to bring it up now. Kiss on my list, right? Your Kiss is on my list. It says that Private Eyes carries a similar rhythm to Your Kiss is on my list, or Kiss on my list, whatever the actual title is. And I had never really picked up on that, Tim, until now. Like, there was a whole thing where people were saying they think they sound very similar.
Well, I have it here. It won't play on the podcast, but let me just play 2 seconds.
And see what Tim thinks.
Okay.
Maybe it's the rhythm?
Yeah, it's not that dissimilar.
Yeah, so that was one thing that people were saying is it kind of feels like it was the same song just rewritten.
Yeah, it's almost exactly the same BPM as well. And the drum pan is much the same, and the feel of the song is much the same. So, yes, it's almost like a recycled idea. But, they're different enough that I've never thought that before until it's pointed out.
I hadn't either, but when I was looking through all the Reddit threads to find people accusing Daryl Hall of being a terrible person, as I was, it came up a few times. And I was like, huh. But to be fair, Tim, when people talk about your beats per minute, that's not. There's like 1,000 songs that have the same, you know what I mean? It's thousands and thousands of songs with the same BPM. It's not that weird. So
no, not at all. But from the same artist with a similar feel and similar.
I know. I'm trying to now I need to hold on. I can sing them in my head, but I want to, hold on. We're giving it a go, guys. I need to look at both lyrics and hear it because I hadn't thought of it until I saw people saying it. So they're watching you. Okay. Now I need to do it's my lips.
Joy is looking them up
Your
as
kiss,
we speak.
oh, private eyes. Your kiss is. Oh, I hear it now. I got it. I got
very,
it. The
very,
rhythms.
very similar. Now, one thing I would like to say about Private Eyes is that the video of this is absolutely fantastic. And there's a bit.
That was another question I was going to say.
There's a bit where John Oates has a magnifying glass and he says, "Private eyes, they're watching you." And he does the magnifying glass up to the screen. And then another time he says, "Private eyes, they're watching you." And he kind of knowingly shakes it.
I mean, if I were directing that music video, if I was doing Private Eyes, I'd have to put a magnifying glass in it, Tim. It's just obvious.
Well, of course.
And now, if you are listening to this podcast, I just want you to know, I hope you have every single one of these songs in your head, because I do. And now I just realized how similar those two sound. They're running together. So with that being said, I mean, when you write bands that I think have had so many hits that I think everybody would know them, they ring up there, Tim. They really do.
Oh, 100%. The thing is about bands that have lots of hits, some bands, like your AC/DCs, they sound all the same. And then you get something like a band like Queen, where mostly all their hits sound completely different.
And those are the ones I think stick.
Yeah, but I think Hall & Oates exists within the same musical plane. But for the most part, their hits do sound a little bit different, apart from those two, which is the ones I've never come across that before.
And I think about it is it's not that weird. Now, since we were talking about Kiss on my list, now one thing is they said that this song is consistently, that's why I was saying that about it being stuck in your head. This is one of the ones that if you look in the Reddits, Kiss on my list is one of those ones that is known as a universal earworm. Like people have consistently said, this is the song that will get stuck in your head over and over and over. And it's really people saying, as much as I don't like him, Daryl Hall's ability to write a hook. Oh. Like he can write such a good hook.
You can talk about how much you dislike Daryl Hall and he might not be a good person and stuff, but he has written some amazing music. Now, there are some musicians that have done terrible things.
The music's still the music.
Yeah, and sometimes it's so heinous that you can never listen to their music ever again. I just think with Daryl Hall, he's just generally unpleasant. But that said, you can still enjoy his art.
Mm-hmm. He's never done anything particularly that I know of. I'm watching you, Daryl. Got my magnifying glass.
He's got private eyes. I mean, he obviously is watching you.
He's watching you. Anyway, so yes, with that being said, but that one was one that everybody said consistently is stuck in their head all the time, which, who doesn't love a good earworm? Now, this isn't one that is not necessarily my favorite song from Hall & Oates, but it's still one that everybody would know. It is from 1975, so we're talking a little bit earlier in the career. It's Sarah Smile.
Yeah. Is this from the album Abandoned Luncheonette Diner?
I think it said Lifetime.
No, let me. In fact, it's here in the list. Let's have a look.
Don't come for me, internet. That's what I thought it said, but I didn't look much more into it.
It comes from the album that's just known as the Silver Album. That's just called.
All right, Tim knows more than I do about albums, so I'll let him take that one.
You actually, Joy, look up the album cover of the Silver Album, the self-titled
Silver Album.
Yeah, and tell me how amazing their makeup is.
Oh, I've seen this before. Them basically looking like they're in drag for sure.
Yeah, I mean I'm impressed with John Oates's blusher he has on the side of his face.
I find that interesting though. Oh, it must have been re-released on Lifetime, Tim, in 1978. That's what it is. Okay. Because it did pop up when I was looking at it, but I didn't look too far into it. Because to be honest with you, albums are not my forte. Well, that is Tim's wheelhouse. I'm just here for the vibes, everybody. I just show up and say stuff, and Tim makes it into a podcast. But no, this song is one of those songs.
You're giving joy. You are giving away our secrets.
This though is one of those songs that, like, I don't know. I could go without hearing Sarah smile again. I'm not going to lie, Tim.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that the bulk of their popular songs are like poppy hits, pop hits type things. This is like almost like a ballad type thing, and then the fact it comes from the 70s as well, where most of the time you think of Hall & Oates as an 80s act.
Yeah, apparently it was dedicated to Sarah Allen, which was Daryl Hall's girlfriend. She's also a co-writer on a few other songs like Maneater. I found that out.
Interesting.
So there was a Sarah to the Sarah Smile. So maybe that's what motivated. It is one of their only real ballads that I can think of off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. I don't really know any other ballads. I will say I'm not a ballad girly, so it doesn't really mean much to me. All right. Well, we got two more, Tim. And it wouldn't be a Hall and Oates episode if we didn't talk about what other deep cut, probably fan favorites. The one that shows their best ability to harmonize. It's still very early in their career, actually earlier than Sarah Smile. She's Gone, 1973.
Yeah, She's Gone. Now, this album definitely is from the album Abandoned Luncheonette Diner. Now, before we get into the song, can we talk about the album title?
Okay.
Abandoned Luncheonette
Diner. Isn't a luncheonette and a diner like the same thing? What's the difference?
I don't know, but on the cover is an abandoned luncheonette diner affair.
All right, I'm Googling it. Abandoned luncheonette. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, it really is. Huh.
And I used to have a vinyl copy of this album. There was a golden era around 2011, 2012, when you could go into any Goodwill and you could buy high-end records for like $1 a pop or less.
Yeah,
and
no
one
more.
in Christiansburg used to have loads. And I actually bought a copy of this Hall & Oates album, Abandoned Luncheonette, for less than $1. And I had it for a long, long time. And then when I culled some of my records out a little while ago, I actually sold it. But I mean, well, it's an interesting cover concept and an interesting name for an album.
What's funny is I was looking through the photos to see what Tim was talking about. It looks like the actual vinyl is red, which matches the diner kind of thing on the front. And on 2 or 3 different, we joked about how a lot of people are buying vinyl again. 2 or 3 different of these sites say, Tim, that it's sold out.
There you go. I'm not buying vinyl again. I will likely never buy vinyl again. Says me, who has a Van Halen box set coming tomorrow, which has a vinyl record in it. But that's different because there are CDs and a Blu-ray in there that I wanted. And the record is like whatever, but you had to buy the set.
Did you know you can buy the 8-track from Daryl Hall and John Oates' Abandoned Legend? How much do you think it's for, Tim? It's pretty cheap.
Well, you can buy an 8-track in any of these Goodwill thrift shop type places for next to nothing because nobody wants them. I would probably be surprised if it's $2.
$9.95.
Yeah, I mean, that's speculative internet pricing. But in real life, if you want a copy of Styx's Grand Illusion on 8-track, go into any thrift shop and you'll be surprised if it's $1.
Wait, I think I just found a new episode. Because this website is dedicated. It's called the 8tracktapestore.com. And it's all just how much you buy 8-tracks for. And this one is ABBA's Super Trooper. $14.95, Tim. Who? Does anyone even own an 8-track player?
Well, they haven't
only
made
8 tracks.
They haven't made 8-track players for a long time. But, there are enthusiasts out there. I thought of getting into mini disc a while ago and buying a mini disc deck and buying mini discs. But I thought this is just a complete waste of time. And I decided not to get into that universe. But, people love old media. And we did a whole episode about obsolete media.
We did.
Yeah,
We did.
And but people collect that. People collect lots of things. And maybe probably for people who collect 8 tracks, it takes them back to a time when that was a current technology, and it takes them back to a good place, a safe space, and that's why they like collecting things like that.
Okay, but this is crazy, Tim. This one's out of stock as well. It's Beatles, A Hard Day's Night. $24.95.
Yeah, I could see that. The other thing is with 8 tracks, the audio fidelity is absolutely awful. And then often the whole song would not fit on one side. So you'd get to the end of one side, the song would fade, you'd hear a big clunk while the heads move, and then it would fade back in again. It was a whole thing.
Okay, so I went on the website and I may have clicked the little button to put high to low, Tim. The highest 8-track on here is $749.95. It's unsealed, or it's never been opened, or it's fully sealed. Let me restate that. It's Queen, The Works.
Yeah, because I'd imagine that's probably at the very end of the 8-track era. Maybe it was one of the last 8 tracks ever made, I would imagine.
I don't know what the next one, I don't know if this means anything to you, Tim. It says 13th floor elevators, Easter everywhere.
Yeah, 13th Floor Elevators is one of the artists that was on that 1001 album challenge I was doing.
Never heard of them before. Had you heard of them before you did the challenge?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, well then I don't feel so bad. $599.95.
Interesting.
Now, before we get into this one, oh God, this is also sealed. $499.99 for U2's Rattle Home.
Yeah, again, right at the very end of that era. I mean, you're fully into the CD era, maybe the CD long box era, but you are into the CD era. Cassettes were still made up to, they make cassettes now, but it's like a novelty purchase. But going into a shop and buying cassettes, I mean, that was probably up to the early 2000s. But I'm surprised that the 8-track lasted into the 80s. I think what you should do, Joy, you should park the rest of this information, and I think this would make a great episode.
I do too. But I have one question, Tim, because they come up on here along. What is this 13th floor elevator? What kind of music do they make? Because they're on here a lot.
Honestly can't remember. I just remember it being a name from the challenge, the 13th Floor Elevators.
Do they have like a cult following or something? What am I missing? I've never even heard those words before.
It's probably one of those things that like Dave Grohl said they were great or something.
All right. Well, with that being said, we got one more, and me and Tim just found a great episode in this. Wow, I didn't even know that website existed. Don't go Googling, because don't ruin the episode, everybody. With that being said, the last song we're going to talk about is from 1984. It's a weird kind of experimental, but I thought it was worth it. It's Method of Modern Love. Are you familiar with this song, Tim?
Very much so. The good thing about Method of Modern Love is he spells it out for you. If you're not sure, if you're not sure what the Method of Modern Love is, he actually spells it out so you're aware. It's like a grammatical test.
Yes, it's literally what I said was spelling song. And let me tell you guys, he spells it out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 times in this song.
Excellent. METHODOFLOVE is a method of modern love.
I mean, it is a little bit different of their music, though, I think. It sounds a little bit different than some of their other songs.
Sure, but I still like it, though. Curiously, it's not in the top 10 streamed songs on the Spotify.
I don't think it's that one of their most popular songs. The other thing is there's just so many. With Hall Oates, there's so many songs. I barely scratched the surface, right, Tim, just talking about that. So what is their top 5 on Spotify?
Okay, well, if I tell you what I'm going to do, is we're almost wrapping the episode.
Yeah.
I will give you the full top 10.
Okay, that'll be our ending.
Of songs streamed on the Spotify. Okay. Coming in at number 10 is When the Morning Comes, 25 million streams. Number 9 is Kiss on My List, 122 million. She's Gone at number 8, 155 million. Sarah Smile, 236 million. Private Eyes, 190 million. I Can't Go For That, No Can Do. It's 220 million. Rich Girl is 1 billion streams. Out of Touch is 313 million streams. You Make My Dreams Come True, again, 1.3 billion streams.
Wow.
And then the most popular of the lot with a slightly less amount of streams is Maneater with 1 billion streams.
All right. One final question to end the episode, Tim. What's your favorite Hall Oates song?
I think it would have to be probably at this point, Private Eyes.
Mine is kind of a toss-up between Rich Girl and I Can't Go For That.
All classics.
All right. Well, what would you leave the people with?
Just be kind to everyone that you meet.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.